this computer. So we're up to 30 people right now. Hey, well, 7:35. Okay, we're going to start. I recorded the video right now. Thank you for everyone showing up here. This has been a while since our last meeting. We do have some important announcements to make. We'll come to it shortly. So Michelle, if you want to take it from there, that would be great.
Take what from where?
Your
Okay.
what's new? So what's new in the world of astronomy?
Okay, after you had an agenda somewhere, I lost it.
That's okay.
Yeah, what's up? What's new? What's on the planetarium?
Okay, so yeah, we'll start with you first.
Oh, so you want me to start now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you see my presentation? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, so I guess I'm giving what's new first, which I guess is new. Okay, so yeah, so the picture you're seeing here is at the center of our galaxy. I believe, if I recall, there's 32 objects here, stars orbiting a black hole. This was a study done over a period of 16 years. And that one you see there with the error bars is called S2, which has a 16-year period. And now it turns out that they found something new that's even faster. It's a 10-year period, and it travels at 8% the speed of light, which is S62. So if you convert that to Mach numbers, that's 72,000, Mach 72,000. So it's moving pretty fast. And in fact, if you're there an hour, you hear there's 100 minutes passes there compared to someone passes here compared to someone being there for an hour. So you can see a significant amount of time dilation. Now, the interesting thing about this is that in normal Keplerian mechanics, the orbit does not precess, it just goes around like so. It does for other reasons, but here, because this is moving at relativistic speeds, general relativity applies. And so you can see that the orbit is precession. So this is one verification of general relativity and also provides further evidence that there's a black hole. This star is about 2 times the mass of our sun and is orbiting Sagittarius A star, which is the name of the black hole, the center of our galaxy. Okay. So speaking of black holes, in fact, there apparently could be hundreds of millions of black holes in the Milky Way. It's just, of course, we don't see them. But this is the closest one that have been found lately. And it's a binary star system. And in the middle of the system is a black hole. And by looking at the dynamics, you get an idea that it's 44 solar masses. And it's 63,000 AU away from the Earth, away from our solar system, and is the actual stars under ideal conditions are visible with the naked eye, well, as a single point that's indicated here. And the interesting thing, we only know a handful of systems, and this is the first non-hostile environment we've seen, because normally what happens is that you get violent interactions and you get high energy X-rays and stuff like that, which basically is not hospitable to life, well, except for cockroaches and perhaps weeds, but that's about it. So not only do they suspect such systems exist, but there might even be ones with a neutron star and a black hole and so forth. And so by studying these systems, they can know a bit more about violent mergers, such as that's viewed in our by a gravitational wave telescope system, LIGOS. Okay, so this is in the constellation Telescopium, and I believe you'd have to go south to see that. Okay, let's see, next slide. Okay, so the NASA's Dawn mission, part of its mission was to visit Ceres, and it's found evidence of a subsurface salty ocean. If you notice here in this picture, whoops, my talk somehow stopped. Okay, if you notice here in this picture, there's this residue near this volcano, or this apparently crater, that is sodium carbonate, which gives indications that perhaps it might have been due to cryovolcanism, so water percolating up to the surface and then evaporating and leaving this residue. It could also be some muddy impact melt from another meteor or something like that, causing a crater. And in fact, they figure it's most likely a bit of both. Because you can see, by observing all of Ceres, you can see that there's indications that some was due to impacts and some was due to something else. The interesting thing about this is that they do believe that there's still some briny salty water in a layer under a thick crust, insulating crust, that's been there for millions of years, and then a porous mantle. Now, the interesting thing about this is they also suspect a similar thing around Pluto. And the mechanism is known as cryovolcanism. And I remember watching an episode of Universe Today. Oh, sorry, not Universe Today. I forget the name right now, but it's a TV series, How the Universe Works, that's it. And this person had some water and took some ice and put it in the water and measured the temperature. And you could actually see it heat up, because as your water starts to freeze, you actually get heat. So the source of heating could be from that process, because Ceres is nowhere near for tidal forces, or has, due to its darkness, well, it doesn't absorb sunlight. So this is another possible mechanism. Okay, so next slide is on ALMA. Now, ALMA is a very interesting telescope. I've been watching some lectures on research in planetary formation, solar systems, moons and stuff, and ALMA is a very useful system. It can be used to explore the chemistry on Io, the chemistry on Titan and so forth, because it has very fine small wavelengths, down to 0.23 to 3.6 millimeters. It's 100 square miles. It's consisting of 66 radio telescopes, so it allows you to probe objects such as comets, planetary formation, solar system, and it was also part of the Event Horizon Telescope network that had recently imaged a black hole at the center of M87. So in this particular case, research was done in a Taurus molecular cloud, which is a massive nursery over 430 light years away. And they found pockets of 32 pre-protostars, so stars even just before they started forming, and 9 protostars, so stars that are just starting to form. And so this is the nursery, and these are all the proto images of various stars under formation within here. So this thing is just teeming. So what that means then is that they can look at all these stars and the various stages of evolution of these systems, and then infer sort of a timeline for or model of how, say, our solar system formed. Obviously, we can't sit and watch it from the beginning to end. We don't live that long, but so this is how we do it. We do it through statistics and observation. And finally, I found this very intriguing, not because it's Tatooine, but it reminds me of a science fiction novel I read by Larry Niven called Smoke Ring. And it almost makes it a reality, but I doubt it. So when planetary systems form, you get a dish with a single star, you just get a disk. But in this case, if you have two stars rotating around each other, so these stars have newly formed, you get this toroidal planetary disk. Let me just, if I get the video going again. And the reason this is called a Tatooine system, so systems like this with two stars, is after Star Wars, the planet Tatooine, which also had two stars. Now, the interesting thing about this is the long period stars orbiting each other produce a disk that's actually 90 degrees to their plane of orbit, whereas the short period stars produce a disk that's in the same plane as their orbits. So that's an interesting observation. So I thought this was pretty cool. Okay, so that is all I have for what's new. Are there any questions? Nope.
Yeah, I think there is one. I'll.
Let's end
Daryl.
this because.
He's got a question here.
Oh, question and answers. Okay. Galaxy account. That's an interesting question, and no, that's trying to remember how to estimate that. Yeah, that would have to come from galactic. So basically, the person's asking if this 100 million black holes could account for the missing mass, therefore called dark matter. The problem with that is that the dark matter actually corresponds to a uniform spherical distribution. So you'd have to have a spherical distribution. Plus, when you do the dynamics, you'll find that that's not the case. Plus, if you think about these aren't supermassive black holes. They're larger size star masses. So this one's only 4 times the mass of our sun. And the one at the center of our Milky Way is 400 million solar masses. So if we had hundreds of millions of 400 million solar mass black holes, then yeah, we'd have a problem. But I still don't think it would account for dark matter. It's just we'd be in trouble. So basically, the way we determine dark matter is looking at the rotation curve of our galaxy, and what the math tells us is that we have some kind of spherical distribution that we are not seeing. And it's, I do remember, this was a long time ago, there was speculation and these things were called machos, but they were essentially ruled out. They also did some studies in the LMC and stuff like that. There's a whole history behind this, but sorry, that was a lengthy explanation, but the short answer is no, it's been ruled out. It's an insignificant amount. Okay. Any other questions?
No, I think that's it. Okay, thank you, Michelle. I'm not mute. Okay, so
okay.
I think that's it for questions. We'll keep an eye on it if there's any more. I'll start with myself now. And share screen. And okay, so this is what I have for our meeting. Okay, so U of M. I was just talking to Danielle about the University of Manitoba, and she told me that the campus is now closed to everyone. So it looks like we'll be still using Zoom for a while, probably well into the next year. They are open to certain individuals and special projects, so definitely we won't be able to go back anytime soon. The open house, unfortunately, it may reopen next year, but again, we'll have to wait until 2021 to see how that goes. Again, it's all because of COVID-19. The barbecue, we did have the barbecue, which was great. Same turnout as any other barbecue, so it was great. Despite that, we did get some rain. I don't have any pictures to post, but anyways, thank you for everyone that come out to the barbecue and everyone that supplied the barbecue itself. Okay, so anyways, I just want to post something. Here's something I'm going to start working on my vacation in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to focus on the Facebook account. It's a great way to see what's going on. I noticed that there's posting a lot of things, including planetarium. I know Scott did a live event at the planetarium, which was really nice. I did try to participate at Len Lee. I did try to say something, but looks like there were so many comments, but I couldn't stay that long because to be glued to the screen and trying to be outdoors at the same time was kind of difficult. So anyways, okay, next we'll talk about the telescope loan. I don't know how many new members we have, and of course we have the website you can go to. So if you want to, our Loaning Scope program is active for the new members. So if you want to contact Abdul or see me at the end of the meeting, they'll happy to direct you to him. So this is just some of the telescopes that we have. I especially like the Sky Adventure here. It's a tracking mount and is connected to the PST, which is great. Glenley Observatory, that's me, the director. So we do have a members night tomorrow. I'll have any questions you want to answer. Okay, so we do have the 12-inch, we have a 14-inch Dob. Again, if you want any directions, just come see me. I did post my phone number, and I will post it on the forum too. So if you've got any questions or any problems, just contact me or text me. So I scheduled the members night to be August the 15th at 9:30. That should be dark enough. Again, for the new members, I'll happy to give you a little tour and of course a little training on the LX200 and how the dome works. But of course, I'm not going to allow any more than 2 people at the dome at one time. So let's keep it safe. Okay, so of course we have the virtual Boston Pizza. I noticed some people are having some problems with the invite. I will post it on the forum and on the RSC list. So again, hopefully we'll see everyone at virtual Boston Pizza. So let's stay home, stay healthy, and stay safe. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. So that's all I have, the announcements for today. Okay. So now it would be Sylvia. Sylvia, it's going to be your turn. She's going to give us an update. I'm going to mute you, Jay. Sorry. And okay, so Sylvia, so what's going on with the Star Party this year? A lot of people have been asking me for the last couple of weeks what's going on. So please take it away.
Okay, hi everybody. I hope everybody can see me and hear me okay. I'm new at this, so let me know if you can. Good? Okay, I got the thumbs up. So yes, everybody, I have some amazing news about Spruce Woods and some not so amazing news. And let's start with the not amazing so we can end on a positive note. But unfortunately, the Star Party this year is canceled. So the Spruce Woods Committee consulted with the RASC Council, and we decided that, considering all of the COVID-19 spike cases in the province of Manitoba, it'd be better to just hold off this year on holding such a big event, keep everyone safe, learn as much as we can about this virus now, because we don't know that much about it really. And hopefully we'll be done with this by next year, and we'll just be looking forward to next year's Star Party. So sorry, everyone. I know there was a lot of excitement about this, and me, myself, I was so excited to have the Star Party, but unfortunately, we had to call it off due to the new spike in numbers in the province. And now to the amazing part about Spruce Woods is that Spruce Woods Provincial Park has now officially been designated a dark sky preserve for the province of Manitoba. This is huge news. So for those of you that are new to astronomy and maybe don't know what a dark sky preserve is, it's basically just an area that's protected officially by this protocol called a dark sky preserve, and is now protected from light pollution. So for years to come, we will have this area, the pristine skies of Spruce Woods, protected thanks to this protocol. The whole process took the RASC of Winnipeg 12 to 13 years to complete. This started so long ago. The committee had to go through so many hurdles in this. For example, there were a couple of floods that destroyed parts of the park. There were changes in management where sometimes, the managers were not that keen on moving on with this project. There were budget issues with the park. Sometimes, their budgets change, right, depending on the government. And it costs a little bit of money. So for example, Spruce Woods had lights that were not really compliant, right? There were lights that were really too bright, and they were shooting up into the sky and into areas that wasn't necessary. So this was not good for protecting the dark skies. They had to purchase new lighting with shielding so that the light is now focused at the ground and in the areas that is needed. It's not spreading all over the place. And this was all done with this group of RASC volunteers who guided the park on how to obtain the proper lighting. And as you can see, this took so long to do. So although the Winnipeg RASC now has achieved this designation, it's not all over. It's not like we can just sit back and go to Spruce Woods and enjoy the skies and hope that they stay that way forever. The Winnipeg RAC has to stay engaged with the park. So we developed a great relationship with them. And so we hope that, whenever they decide to change lighting, if, for example, they need to replace a light fixture or something, that they will contact us to make sure that the replacement lighting is in line with this protocol. Because if it isn't, if they happen to get additional lighting or lighting that's not shielded properly, this designation could be pulled from us, and then we have to start all over again. And did I mention it took 13 years to do this? So it's going to be something that we have to keep in mind, keep in touch with the park, and keep those relationships. So achieving this designation means that the province of Manitoba, for the first time ever, has a dark sky preserve. So this is a major achievement. So those RASC volunteers essentially have ensured that the pristine skies of Spruce Woods are now protected, and we have a place for astronomy and for science under the stars. We have a place where visitors can actually enjoy dark skies. We have a place where living creatures, animals, are protected from light pollution. And there's also the elimination of excess lighting and wasteful stuff, wasted money on lighting that's not necessary, and money that could be channeled to better things, like astronomy things, right? So it's so much what this group has accomplished. And so now you must be wondering, who are these members of the RASC? Who are these heroes that accomplished such a project? So the first and foremost important leader of that group, I'm just a messenger here, by the way, it's Tim Kennedy. He asked me not to mention his name and not to single him out and to just say that, RASC volunteers achieved this, but he needs to be singled out because he was certainly a moving force behind this whole project. I mean, his leadership and his ability to engage volunteers and stakeholders played a role, and his perseverance, because did I mention this thing took 12 to 13 years to achieve? So Tim did an amazing job. And Tim also said, volunteers are to be appreciated no matter how much they contribute to the organization or to the project. They can contribute a little bit, they can contribute lots, but we have to recognize them and appreciate them. And he will be having a presentation for you for the membership so that you'll know everything that's happened with this DSP. And he will be mentioning by name all the people that contributed. And me, just off the top of my head, I can think of some people I wrote down here that belong to this group. Like, for example, Sandy Shuchuk, Gail Weiss, Marnie Dangerfield, Ron Berard, Sheila Wishar, our current president, Brian Stach. Brian, you have been with this committee at Spruce Woods for more than 11 years. I mean, that's how long I've been in it. And I remember you being there all the time. So thank you for your extended contributions to the committee as well. There was also Gord Telek, Scott Young, Jerry Smarchansky, Mike Caracas, Cliff Levy, and the late Lindsay Price, and so many others that I'm probably forgetting because this thing went on for so long. I mean, council was such a key part of this, and so many people come and go. So a lot of people were, I may be forgetting, I'm so sorry, but we'll make sure that we'll mention you later. So essentially, if you see any of these people I just mentioned, be sure to give them a huge shout out, because this was a huge thing that has been accomplished here for the province of Manitoba and for the RASC of Winnipeg. It's amazing. So make sure to say thank you to your volunteers. And so that's my quick report on the Dark Sky Preserve. Something else that I've been wanting to do for a while is just to organize a little group of astronomy sketchers. Somebody, a couple of people told me that they'd be interested in being part of this. So I'm gonna just organize a little group. If you're interested in learning about astro sketching, which by the way is an amazing tool, something that I'm amazed at it every time I sketch something, because it's just such a great tool to remember and to be able to see those astronomical objects in such detail because you're putting them in writing. So for those of you who are interested and would like to join me under the stars for a sketching session, I have all of the equipment you're going to need from the Spruce Woods Star Party Committee. I have the papers, pencils, erasers, lights. So all you have to do is show up if you want to come along, bring a comfortable chair, and shoot me an email. Let me know if you want to be part of this. I'll keep you in the loop when I go out and do something like this. And finally, and in closing, I want to give council a big shout out for all of their contributions to the RASC, especially during this pandemic where, organizing these Zoom meetings, the events, making sure that things are disinfected and cleaned, and people are doing the social distancing. All of that takes effort and it takes people's time. And I'm just so grateful to be part of this club. And I wanted to say thank you to the RASC Council. And that's about it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Oh, I see that there is 3 questions, so I'm gonna go look at them now. Sorry, it's not coming up. Let me see. I can do this. Okay. Is the Quiche Manitou campground open? And yes, actually it is open. And I think that's the only questions that I have. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to just shoot me an email, arcturus173@hotmail.com. I'd be happy to help to give you any information of any of these subjects. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia. That was well done. Thank you. I appreciate your time, taking the time out to let us know. I did really enjoy being on the committee for a while there, so still have some good memories of it. I will start posting some of those pictures too of the Star Party soon on the website.
Oh yes.
Yes.
That'd be great.
That's one of the little projects I'm going to have because I got some time off coming up. Okay, so thank you, Sylvia. We'll continue on with Jay. I see they changed some of the settings here, so Jay is now the spotlight.
Spotlight. Oh, what's that mean? Does that mean I have to do something different? Well, hello everybody. Good to see you all. Been an eventful month for us because of the Perseid meteor shower. A lot of us got out and actually looked at the dark sky, judging from the comments that were on the air. So I'm just going to share this screen now, and we'll get right into the what's up for August, September. Okay, well, this is normally a good time of year because the nights are getting longer. Temperatures are still relatively pleasant. After 10:30 at night, the mosquitoes tend to die down instead of lasting until midnight before it got too dark for them. So, and as we get further on into the fall, then it get even better when the mosquitoes give up on us. All right, speak to me, oh great computer. Here we are. Just an indication of how much longer our nights are. You can see the sunset times for tomorrow night and for a month from now. So we advance an hour earlier sunset, and astronomical darkness goes from 5 hours until about 7.5 hours there. So we get a certain well, we get enough time, because after 7 hours in the middle of the night, everybody's ready for bed. And your body's ready to give up at any time after 2 a.m. The sun is starting to get active. We have 2 sunspots on the sun at the moment. Both of them are tiny little guys, but they are both members of sunspot cycle 25, which is a new one that's coming up. You can see the graph in the lower right there. The measurements from the past sunspot cycle. We're right in the bottom of the trough right now and about to start on our way up. And both of these sunspots are part of the new cycle. We know that because the magnetic fields in them are the reverse of the magnetic field directions in the previous cycle sunspots, and also because they're at a relatively high latitude on the sun. And sunspots always start a cycle at high latitudes and then gradually move down toward the equator of the sun as the 11-year, well, half of the 11-year cycle, or all of the 11-year cycle proceeds. So this is encouraging because it means we'll start to see some aurora and things like that in about 3 years from now. Should become pretty common. Although we did see aurora one night when we were out looking at the Perseids. Planets, so I can't miss Jupiter and Saturn. They're up as soon as it gets dark enough, and they're just hanging there in the south. And if you're in a dark sky, like many of us were over the last week, they actually get in the way. They're too bright. They kind of, it's like having 2 headlights sitting there down in the lower part of the Milky Way. Right now, the 2 planets are drawing apart from each other, but this is not going to continue. I've said over the next few months, actually for about a month, they'll continue separating, and then they will begin to converge on each other again. It's interesting noting in the middle of this screen here, in around Christmas, on the 21st of December, the 2 planets will be 1/10 of a degree apart, the closest since, well, for 400 years. So it will certainly both be visible. It should be a spectacular sight in a telescope, having those 2 planets together in telescope field. Uranus is it's higher than Mars in the sky, and in fact, it's at its highest declination that it's been for about 60 years. At its magnitude, if you get keen eyesight, theoretically you could see it, but certainly with a little bit of magnification and its declination or altitude in the sky and its relatively bright magnitude, it's worth seeking it out just to see. We hardly ever look at Uranus and Neptune, and so now's your time. And in fact, with a small telescope and a short exposure of the order of 15 seconds or so, you can actually photograph the moons of those planets. Neptune is also well positioned, opposition in a month. So the opposition means that it's due south at midnight. So it's also good for viewing overnight. Just to mention some comets, we still have comet Neowise. You see here, we see the bright star Arcturus, which you can find by following the arc of the stars from the Big Dipper's handle. And Spica, which is a bright star to the south. So in between these two bright stars, we have comet Neowise and also comet Pan-STARRS, and they're pretty close to each other, although quite different magnitudes, but they're close enough to be photographed with, say, a 600 millimeter lens or something like that. Neowise is about 7th magnitude, Pan-STARRS is 11th. And both of them are moving to the left in this diagram in their orbit. The blue tracks are their orbits, but Neowise, being much closer to us, is moving more quickly than Pan-STARRS, and so they will be separating over the next months, and Neowise will be down around 11th magnitude by the end of the month. So, bit of a telescope, a chance to catch two of them, maybe even in the same photographic field if you take the time to do it. Here's the graph of brightness for Neowise. You can see that it peaked rather nicely at magnitude 0.6. It was the formal measurement on the Weekly Comets webpage, and now it's dropped down to +6, +6.3 at the last measurement, but it's probably close to 7 at the moment. In the night sky, we have off in the south, or a little bit to the west side of south, the core of the Milky Way with Scutum and Aquila and Sagitta and Cygnus. Lots of goodies in there to look at. Most of us focused our attention up there to the left side of Cassiopeia, where Perseus is, and the double cluster that you can see, two little bright spots in the upper left, and that is approximately the location of the radiant of the Perseid meteors. So we spent a lot of time in there. Now that space between Cygnus and Cassiopeia is a pretty big area of the sky without any really well-defined constellations in it. In fact, the one you see there, Lacerta, is the only one. So I was thinking about it when I was out watching them. I said, oh, you know, what's up in there? Because the Milky Way clouds are very bright, and you can see that the dark lanes that separate various parts of it there beside the bright red North American nebula are quite prominent when you're just looking visually. So I looked up to see what Lacerta was. It's the lizard, and it was a constellation. It doesn't have roots in ancient times. It was put up by Hevelius in 1687. It's really only got one bright cluster, 7243. You can see on the map there, the little yellow spot. But what I liked about it is the way it has such lovely detail in the Milky Way itself when you're looking at the clouds. It's interesting to note that in the southern hemisphere, several of the original groups there don't make figures out of the stars and their patterns, but instead make figures and mythological objects out of the Milky Way and its gas clouds and dust clouds. We get into morning. The previous picture was 10 o'clock. This one is what it looks like at 3:30 in the morning, and the better part of the Milky Way is now moved off into the western sky, and we're beginning to see Venus rising there on the far left. But more than anything else, Mars is becoming very brilliant and very red, is up almost due south as you go past midnight into the morning sky. So Mars is going to become our focus for the next 2 months as it gets closer and closer to the Earth. In the constellations, you can see that Taurus there, to the right of Venus. Taurus is a really interesting constellation, and in the morning, once you're done with the Milky Way on the other side, it's worth going over to Taurus. Easy to find because it has the Pleiades star cluster there, and also has M1, Messier 1, the Crab Nebula, which of course is the remains of a supernova explosion from 1,000 years ago. it's very interesting. Both of them have their own appeal, although they're entirely different objects. But the nice thing about the Pleiades is that even with a small telescope, you can begin to see some of the dust and gas around it. Right behind Taurus is Orion, as you can see in this map, but Orion is really better placed next month than in October. Planets, well, we already know about the sun, and Mercury is too close to the sun, but it's coming out at the month end in the evening, but it's so low down and will stay low down in the sky that it's not really going to be very visible. Venus is rising higher in the morning twilight, very, very bright. But again, as I've said before, Mars is what really where the action is. And you can see on my right-hand side of the screen, the relative sizes of Mars, how it increases over the next month. It's got quite a bit more size increase, even double what you see there in September 13 as it gets into October and reaches its closest point to the Earth in this particular conjunction or opposition. One of the interesting things is that if you get there toward midnight, you can see the star Antares, which shows up on the right-hand side of your screen in the star chart, and Mars on the left-hand side. Antares comes from Ant Ares. Ares is the Greek god of war and is the counterpart to Mars itself. So Antares means a rival to Ares, and that's because they're both red. Now, Mars is much, much brighter than Antares now, but when they're of similar brightnesses, they are very, very similar to each other. Interesting little historical note on how one of the stars got its name. Just to tell you, the Perseids aren't completely over. Here's a graph up to yesterday, or today actually, Perseid meteor counts around the world. And you can see we're still very high, and it's still worth going out if it clears off tomorrow night as promised. Pretty pictures. August 28th, the gibbous moon is near Jupiter and Saturn. It's quite a long way off, but much nicer is September 6th. Moon passes just under Mars, and on the left-hand image there, I show you the two of them rising at about 10 p.m. together. The one on the right is an image taken 2 hours later, or constructed. You can see that the moon has actually moved past Mars. But now you have the relative sizes of the moon and Mars 1 degree apart. So a little bit of a wide angle probably show the two of them as disks. Certainly the moon is a disk. So when the Mars is passing Jupiter, or the moon is passing Jupiter and Saturn, that's what it looks like. Pluto's in there, but I don't pretend that any of us are going to go looking for it with the moon that bright right in the vicinity. And just for the heck of it, here's the weather from, this is actually yesterday's forecast. So today's rain is in it, ending at midnight, a couple of showers tomorrow. And you can see from the gray cloud cover map up and down that on Sunday morning, things start to clear up a bit. And if this is right, Sunday night will also be good if you want to go out and take a look at the what's left of the Perseids. And here's Cheshire Cat Galaxy to end our session. You can look that one up on Wikipedia. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Jay. I'm going to see if I can take over. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're making pretty good time here. So we'll start with Scott here. Let me just, they changed some of the settings here. Cancel spotlight. And you're the spotlight now. So what's going on with the planetarium, Scott?
Okay, well, thanks everybody. Hi, I'm Scott Young, and I'm the planetarium astronomer guy. It turns out that the planetarium has finally reopened. We closed 5 months ago for COVID, and we opened yesterday, 5 months to the day from when we closed. And so I was in yesterday and today running shows and things like that. We're pretty glad to be able to welcome people back under our dome. It's under very limited circumstances, as you might imagine. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we have going on this week, and then what things look like for the future, as well as one of our events here. So what I'm going to do is I will share screens, and hopefully this will work. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay, great. So we're very happy that the planetarium is reopened. This is a great shot by RASC member Sean Workman, who also works down at the planetarium and has done a bunch of photography under the dome. You don't have to worry about, waiting for it to be cloudy, or you can just turn the moon off if you want. So it's pretty convenient to do astrophotography in the planetarium. But we have reopened Thursday through Sunday. We can't be open full time yet because there's just a lot of stuff that has to happen in between. We're, let's see, my image is not changing. So let's see if I can do that.
Try the space bar.
Yeah, I have tried the space bar, but okay, I had to just switch windows that were active. There we go. So yeah, we're running 3 shows a day. We used to run 6 shows a day, but now we have to clean all of the seats in the planetarium between shows. So that's takes a little bit of time. We're sort of getting into a pattern here. The show at 11:30 a.m. is generally aimed at families with younger children. And this week it's a show called Zula Patrol, which is kind of a zany cartoon adventure kind of thing. Coming up, we'll have a different show called Secret of the Cardboard Rocket, which is all about the planets and stuff. But that's usually aimed for the younger kids and the families. The shows at 1:30 and 3:30 are more sort of what I'd call the typical planetarium shows, the feature shows. And we're trying to offer a bit of a variety. So on Thursdays and Sundays, we have Manitoba Skies. That's the live show. It is the guided tour of the night sky, where the constellations are, planets, upcoming events, and things like that. And then the other 2 shows are pre-recorded shows. They still have sort of a sky update on, where the constellations are and things like that. All of our shows have a little bit of that at the very least. Search for Life is narrated by Harrison Ford, some 2-bit actor in a small independent film that you might probably have never seen. But anyway, it's a great look at the search for life beyond Earth, the kinds of places we could look for life in our own solar system, looking at exoplanets as well, and things like that. Pretty good show. And then the other one, Life, A Cosmic Story, kind of a similar theme. The 2 of them really play well together, actually. Really looking at the Earth, what it is about the Earth that allows for life, how life was able to get started here, and how it's able to flourish, and looking at the diversity of life forms and so on. And also sort of looking at how that fits into the rest of our solar system, the formation and so on. So some pretty cool topics, some of the big questions in the universe, I would say. So this is a picture from the Zula Patrol, and that picture of the cartoon aliens being chased by a T-Rex tells you everything you need to know about that show. It's a lot of fun, really aimed at kids, but it also has some good content about about the Earth as a planet. So that's kind of a fun show. Manitoba Skies, like I say, sort of our classic planetarium experience, and that of course gets updated as various things occur. I forgot to mention, The Search for Life, Are We Alone, was actually written by Annie Druyan, who's the widow of Carl Sagan, and a writer, and Steven Soder. The 2 of them wrote Cosmos, the only Cosmos series with Carl Sagan. And so the writing of that show is particularly Cosmos-like. It's very poetic. You could just sit there and, Harrison Ford's milky voice and this beautiful language. It's a great show to watch. Life, A Cosmic Story is narrated by Jodie Foster, and she brings a different sort of feel to the planetarium. It's more enthusiastic, more sort of passionate, a little bit less laid back, but a very fun show to watch. Now coming up, for the last 5 months, we've been doing a lot of things online. We've had everything from online astronomy day to online planetarium shows to the live broadcast of the Perseids last week, which I still haven't caught up on my sleep from, as you can tell from all the yawning. We have another one coming up this next weekend. August 22nd, we're doing a virtual planet party. We're going to be observing Jupiter and Saturn live with a variety of telescopes and then putting that out to Facebook. We're also going to try and image Pluto just because people like Pluto. And if people stick around late enough, we may also look at Mars. It really depends if the seeing conditions will be sort of good enough. We say the event goes from 9:30 to 11, but it will go as long as the sky is clear pretty much, because once it's all set up, might as well just keep streaming. We will be having more events in September. We're gearing up in the planetarium to welcome back schools in September, whatever that looks like. None of us know yet, and so there's a lot of contingencies and things like that. I will make a little pitch here, though. The planetarium, you may or may not know, as part of the Manitoba Museum, we're a not-for-profit charity. We're not a government department, and so more than half of our revenues come in from people buying tickets, and we haven't been able to do that for 5 months. So if you like having the planetarium here in town, we would love it if you could pop by and buy a ticket and come and see the shows, because not only would we love to see you, but it will help ensure that there will be a planetarium in Winnipeg. It's been a tough time for businesses with COVID all over the place, and particularly for the performing arts, essentially, where we're all stuck not being able to sell the tickets that pay the bills. So we'd certainly love to have you down. And I did post in the chat there, if the university campus is closed, we can always have some meetings down at the planetarium downtown if the council thinks that's a good idea, once face-to-face meetings become useful. Although it is kind of nice sitting here not wearing pants at the meeting and just not having to dress up or whatever. But it would be nice to see people face-to-face as well. So anyway, that offer's there, and we can talk about that in the future. And that's what I have to say about the planetarium, and I just hope that all of you will come down and visit us. Okay, and I'll turn off my screen.
Hey, thank you, Scott. You know what? I will take your offer. Maybe we'll schedule a meeting with the members soon, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, well, thank you, Scott.
No problem.
I do have some time next week, not this, starting the 24th, I get some time off, so definitely I'm going to attend a few shows. So also too, I was thinking maybe you can give me the schedule and I'll post it on our forum so people can know the times as well as myself. Okay, so thank you, panelists, for coming out. It's been great. So we're going to end it right there. So not bad for time. Boston Pizza is going to be at 9 o'clock or even sooner. I will post it on the forum, the invite. So I just make sure everyone will be there. So including Michelle, I'll send you a separate email to make sure you're got invited too. So again, thank you for coming out. This is great. We'll see you at Boston Pizza. Thanks, everyone.